Welcome back to the She Ascend Circle Lounge. I'm Danielle with Behati, and our K Ray is back with us. Yay! We're all in our elements today. So, we are starting our sexual health segment in our Women's Health series, which is sexual health. But we just decided that we're going to call this the pleasure principles. So, anybody who is in that era knows what I'm talking about. Pleasure principles. Oh, we're going to roll on. Oh, so this week we're going to be talking about sexual health one-on-one, like why it matters at every age. Uh, Many women we're never taught that sexual health is a vital part of overall wellness. And so this episode is going to normalize that conversation and explore how sexual health impacts our physical, emotional, and our mental well-being. So, ladies, I'm going to ask you, when you hear the phrase sexual health, what does it mean to you, and why do you think so many women struggle to talk openly about it?
But there's several things for me. Um, One, sexual health means for me it's not just the mental and emotional part, but it's the physical part. It's the not putting myself last part, and making sure that I'm getting my checkup. I'm making sure that my hormones are regulated, that I'm taking care of, and also asking for what I want, asking for what I need. I feel like a lot of women have a hard time talking about it, and I used to as well, because in our society, sex is such a salacious, taboo thing, you know, and a lot here in the U.S. And you go overseas, Europe, it's not that big of a deal, but here it is. So, good girls don't talk. Good girls.
Ironic topic, right?
Yeah,
Because sex equals procreation, and the society that we live in, being that is very patriarchal, tends to want to control the narrative of what that looks like, to have power in your sexuality. And in a lot of ancient cultures, which I love studying how people approach these things back in the day, way back in the day, it was an empowerment for women to have control over their desires, control over their needs, control over their bodies. That was an empowering thing for a woman. And there was balance in the world in some aspects of that. Um, what I love to look at is how the cultures used sex as a way to communicate with each other and really as a commerce. So, like in Pompeii, some of the hieroglyphs on the walls were that, and a lot of people talk about this, like in the ancient Pompeii, there was like a what do you call this? Like a boudoir of sorts. We'll use a little clean language here, where you can pick your pleasure, right? Pleasure principles. And then in Indian culture, Kama Sutra is very popular and very prevalent, right? And so when you have power over your body and your desires, and you use that to power over people, then it becomes more taboo. And so society has used that to power over women. And here we are today, right? Them trying to access our bodies and enforce rules upon how we do what we do with our bodies. And so I think that, to me, society is afraid of a woman who is empowered by what she can naturally do, which is create.
Yeah. It's always been like taboo, like talk about that. Or if depending on your age, young woman or mid-century modern woman, whoever is talking about it, it's like we're looked at as like we shouldn't be discussing it. We shouldn't be
Yeah.
talking about it because I mean, sexual health overall. It's more than this intimacy. There's a connection between sexual health and overall wellness because we don't realize other than, what we hear about, like STDs and things like that,
Exactly. And it's
like where
always
the,
in that lane, right? It's always in like
yeah,
in school, sex ed leads to either pregnancy or an STD. And there's nothing in
right,
between about like what does it mean to be clean? What hygienically, what does that look like, right?
right,
And
right,
so we make it so taboo, but I love how Kay was saying, like in European countries, they're very open about your
yeah,
body parts and things like that. I notice a trend right now, but it's not a new trend, but I notice a trend where there is more LGBTQ-esque information and scenes in movies and popular TV shows and series that are coming out where Americans are trying to be a little bit, just a tiny bit more open to this world of sexuality. But in still, there are some people that are very uncomfortable with what people do behind closed doors. And I can respect that. I
yeah,
don't really care to imagine what you do with who you do it with. Like that is your personal business. But
right,
what we're talking about is the health of things, like being healthy, physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally healthy
yeah,
when it comes to sex.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, even the impacts of stress, and having burnout and just being busy. Like, how many times, like, have either you could have experienced yourself or have heard somewhere or know someone who's dealt with, they get constant vaginal infections and things like that due to stress. They're
Or
doing
diet.
everything right, or diet, like how
Diet.
much things affect those type of things.
as far as the health goes. Now, here's the interesting point. Having regular intercourse actually helps with the health of your vagina. It helps with the tone because it helps also with hormone regulation in a way as well because it's for our vagina, believe it or not. So I'm not kidding because when we climax, I'm not kidding. We've all heard of Kegels, right? Squeeze, squeeze.
Doing them
Well,
right.
doing them right now. You guys are blessed. This is
This is gonna be a fun. This is gonna be a fun segment. I can already tell.
hilarious. I love it. So
Well, listen,
when
a
we
lot of women don't know. I'm going to zoom into that, Kay, because a lot of women don't know that they are capable
Yeah,
of
exactly,
that
yes,
gift. It is a
yes,
gift, right? So when you talk about vaginal health and cleanliness and things like that, like it is a gift, and it is important even during childbirth to be able to know how to exercise those muscles.
yeah,
in ancient culture, if you guys heard of moss balls, the different size little balls that women would insert them vaginally and hold them to help exercise their vaginal walls, which helped with bladder leases and all hosts of things vaginally. So it is muscles. So when we climax, those muscles automatically work and spasm in a good way, and that is exercise for that. And that's a muscle in there that we do need to work.
Yeah. And you know what's so interesting that we're talking about this is I remember growing up that again in my culture and Hispanic culture it was very taboo. You don't talk about, you don't do these things, but oftentimes in many cultures, unfortunately, young women are taken advantage of. I was not one of them, but um my mother attempted to show me some things with a banana and I was just like, Mom, I've been knowing some stuff. Like I've always been I've always been a curious child. I've always been sexually in tune with my body and what my body felt, like the different feelings that I was getting and the attractions that I had to male and female when I was very young. And
mhm,
so we don't tend to allow our children to express themselves sexually or have those conversations. Again, it's so taboo
Yeah.
because of how we were brought up. But I raised my daughters to be very curious and question everything. And even to this day, they're very open with me about their health and the some of the topics. Like I don't want to know everything you're doing, but I just want to make sure you're okay, right? Like I will quiz them and ask them questions like, "Are you making sure this and that?" And they're like, "Yes, mom." I'm like, "Good, good."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I hope that we can break that stigma with these new generations here. But again, we have social media, we have access to AI now. Like they can any question they have, they can access that. But it's a shame that in our generations we didn't get that proper training.
Yeah. 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 I think.
Girls still get that. And you touched on something, you know,
Yeah.
being taken advantage of. I was for all my childhood. And that, when that happens, whether it be a boy or a girl, it changes them. It changes their brain chemistry. It changes who they would have been forever. And it skews how they view their body, how they view themselves in sexually, and in relation to who they are as a sexual being. And oftentimes, um, if that is not ever addressed properly, it can screw them up for a long, long,
Yeah.
long time, if not forever, if they never get help for it. So if there's anyone watching or listening and you have experienced that in your life, you know, I really heartfelt encourage you to seek some counseling around it. You know, definitely seek some healing because it's worth it. It is so worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like that's a non-negotiable when something
Yeah.
like that happens because you can think that you push something away and and not talk about it and think it's going to just oh if I don't talk about it or try not to think about it, then it's just going to go away, and that's not the case. So that's definitely non-negotiable. So thank you for being so open and transparent and sharing that, Kay, because I'm sure that there is someone that'll be watching who can resonate with what you're saying. But it's
Yeah, like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. And it's important for us to and we'll in 2 weeks our segment we will get into like the communication and communicating things, but I just want to touch on while we've got like another minute or so, just the importance of awareness and self advocating for ourselves when it comes to communicating the needs that either we want or don't want, and or when we go to the doctor advocating
Yeah.
for ourselves because not listening, or oh it's just this, or oh it's just that, and it's like no, like
Exactly.
your body, if
Yeah.
something is not right. and
Yes.
and as women we deserve to be able to have shame-free conversations about it, um and be heard and be taken serious when it comes to that kind of stuff. So
Yeah. And I
I
love how you said that. I wanted to just zoom into that really quickly. I've had two really close friends of mine who recently had hysterectomies, who
Mhm.
had to, and black women, beautiful black women, and they had to self-advocate. They used AI to kind of collect the language to be able to express to the doctors who were basically blowing them off, like just go take a pill or let it ride. They were having a lot of heavy bleeding, and it was impacting their life. It was impacting their livelihood. It was impacting them mentally because they couldn't enjoy life, right? And so they had to do deep research to understand what was going on to be able to communicate to their doctors what exactly was happening with them and how it was impacting them. And eventually they both ended up having hysterectomies. Now they do have children, but still, right? Like to your point, we do have to know enough about our bodies and be in tune with our bodies and this is why personally I do advocate for women to explore themselves, like thoroughly explore yourself, know what everything looks like everywhere that you can. Because if something happens and you end up going to that part, explore. Look at every crack and crevice because if there's something that shows up,
Yes,
you know what I mean?
yes,
Like you
yes,
should know. If it
yes.
don't smell right, get it checked. Like all of that. It's a thing.
Yes, it is. It is a thing. No, I get it. No, we're right. We're right. Oh my gosh. Okay, so
This is
so
where we're heading. If you're
we're,
listening,
we're gonna. That's right. This is
you
where we're
go right
heading.
in.
This is just the beginning. So I mean, thank you, ladies. Like this is busy. When you have fun, it goes so fast. But I want to tell everybody who's watching, like, stay tuned because this is gonna get interesting over the next 3 weeks. So just want to let everyone know that sexual health is health care.
Mhm.
It's not something separate. It's part of your body. It's health care. And women deserve accurate information and support at every stage of life. Again, it's Danielle with Behati and Kay. We will see you next week as we continue this final segment in our Women's Health series, The Pleasure Principles. Whatever's good for your soul, you better go and do that.